शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये. School of Techno Ayurveda welcomes to the guest lecture series. The many people, those who are youngsters with new ideologies, they are expressing their explorative ideologies. Thereby, we are going to have an innovative things which we can make out in our day-to-day practical life. In this series, today I am introducing Dr. Vrushalee Dodke, who is at present assistant professor working in the Prasuti department of the LNCT Ayurveda College of Bhopal. And she is very innovative in her practices, and she got learnt from very big people, and now she is here with us to give her experiences over the PCOD very specifically. I was looking this PCOD and many of the diseases, especially thyrotoxicosis, myxedema, or otherwise problem of the thyroid, is increased with the number only when this iodine salt is being introduced. There are few people claims that iodine salt, iodized salt is going to give lots of the female problems. And some people say this is very good and it enhances the memory and also thought process. A thorough research is very much necessary, whether in day-to-day we have to use the iodine or not. And we have to even think of ourselves whether this iodine supplementation is to be given only when it is being required, or what are the parameters for the iodine supplementation. And today, yes, I was hearing from many of the people about the PCOD and its management. And another peril of feather is in front of us, Dr. Vrushalee. I request Dr. Vrushalee to take over and give her lecture. If at all you want to make on the PPT, you can load the PPT. Otherwise, you can just deliver the things. At the end, people can ask the question answer. You can post your question answers in the chat box. At the end, we'll try to make out how better we can answer you. All the people, those who are assembled, are very learned. They are practitioners. And in this occasion, I am giving an open offer. School of Techno Ayurveda is ready to host your guest lectures. If at all you come out with a new and innovative ideology, please contact me, and thereby we can arrange your innovative ideology to spread globally even. Thank you, and over to Vrushalee Dodke.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Here, myself, Dr. Vrushalee, and thank you, sir, for asking me to deliver a lecture and providing me this awesome platform to share my thought of knowledge or my thoughts. So now I'll be delivering a lecture on today's topic is PCOD and its Ayurveda interpretation. So of course we will discuss the pathophysiology according to Ayurveda, and also the modern part is also important. So we will be discussing also that and the treatment part. So let's see. The discussion will be done on the entire topic stepwise. So the first thing, what's PCOD? Okay, it is basically polycystic ovarian disease. So that itself, the word says it's a cyst formation in the ovary, and if this PCOD is not treated well, then it will land into, or it will upgrade into the PCOS. What's PCOS then? PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome. Okay. So how does it form? If we don't treat PCOD, then it will turn into syndrome. Like a syndrome is what? A cluster of many symptoms, many diseases alongside the PCOD. So the first thing is we have to analyze, assess early stages of the PCOD, and according to that, we will have to treat it. So I'm sure here many of my students to revise the anatomy and physiology of the follicle production in the ovary, because this is the base part, or the on this concept how the follicles mature and develop. And that's why if it is not done properly, and then that's why the PCOD occurs. So we will have to see how does this process happen. So we will quickly revise this process. So I'll give you an example of the factory outlet, so that you will know about this process more efficiently. So I'm sure many of you have seen or known about how does the factory outlet work. So in any kind of factory, there are some kind of production. Let's say we will just assume it's a biscuit factory. Okay. So in this factory, going through number of procedures and number of subunits, biscuits are taken into production. They are produced from very crude form to a very concrete round shape biscuit, pack of biscuit, and then it is delivered outside the factory. So what if I say somehow, for some reason, this factory or these small units in this factory are not working well? So what would happen? Each unit will stuck at a certain position. So at certain point of time, production is hampered. So at this stage, things goes on and each unit is stopped by. So what would happen? The entire crude form of production will be stuck in the outlet. Alongside that, new production is going to happen. So this entire process is hampered, and that outlet will be cluttered with the unnecessary, very kachra production, and it will occupy the space. So in this same fashion, if I compare this factory with the ovary and the biscuits with the follicle formation, so what would you can analyze, and you can make it out like these follicles are not forming into a dominant follicle. Let's see how it happens. The primordial follicles in the ovary, which are already there, they undergo through the process under the influence of the hormones, gonadotropins, hormones like FSH, LH, and then they grow into bigger size, slowly develop into the entire month throughout the menstrual cycle, ovarian cycle, and then at a certain stage, this final dominant follicle is formed, and then then ovulation happens under the influence of LH hormone, and then after ovulation, ovum is released, and then it will enter into the fertilization process. If this female is in fertile age group, that ovum will somehow, or at this stage, it will undergo the process of fertilization. Okay. So now what happens in the PCOD samprapti or PCOD pathophysiology? These follicles which are not matured, which are there stuck, they are not like the as I said, factory outlet. These are not dynamic. They can't do anything. But the ovary and the follicles, these are mini production units. These follicles and ovaries also produce hormones at their level at certain stages. So see, here are many of the follicles stuck inside the ovary, which are not necessary at all. They are there, occupying the space, also producing unnecessary amount of hormones. So they are interfering with the normal function of the ovary. So what they do? They hamper the production of FSH, because these small cell follicles which are not matured will secrete estrogen. That's how through the mechanism they will hamper production of FSH or circulation of the FSH, and that's why again they will interfere with the next production of the follicles. That's why each cycle is getting hampered. So this cycle, ovum is not generated, dominant follicle is not formed. So that follicle again it is stuck into ovary. Then again next cycle is hampered. Then again next cycle is hampered, and somehow this vicious cycle keeps happening. So because of this, the micro environment of the ovary and the female body gets hampered in a very bad manner. The things go awry. Okay. So now, okay. So now, what happens? This this thing also hamper the physiology of the female patient. First of all, we will discuss about the how these things interfere. What are the hetus or the reasons by which this sampraptik is happening? Sampraptik is what? Pathophysiology. Why this is happening? We will discuss. Meanwhile, we are discussing about the reasons or hetus of the PCOD. So let's discuss. Let's talk about the reasons. First thing, it's a lifestyle disorder. It's given that because of the lifestyle only, things are getting difficult. Sedentary lifestyle. Today's what says a female is working, or they have servants, they have households. So it sedentary lifestyle is developed with that patient. Then she's not working, she's not doing any exercise. So in this patient, Medu Dhatu is saturated, like the process of Dhatu Agni or the Agni is what I can say कि मंदाग्नि हो जाता है, right? So again, faulty lifestyle, faulty eating habits, things like adhesion, viruddhahar, viruddhashan, these things happen with the patient. So what is, I'll tell you about the adhesion. What is adhesion? Adhesion is eating excessively over and over. It's a false hunger. Many of the times what happens in the case of PCOD patients, there is a insulin resistance, and this insulin resistance greatly interfere with the normal urge of the eating food, or like hunger. Normal feeling of the hunger is hampered. So patient feels false feeling of hunger. So that's why patient keeps eating. After 1 hour, again she eats something, again munching on some other thing. So this is how addiction is happening. So what happens? So unwanted, not a good type of food is entering into a gut. Okay, so that's why also it causes mandagni in that patient, or ama sanchiti in that patient, or in this girl. Again, viruddhashan. Now I see most of the times we browse on the YouTube and this thing. So I see there is a culture of remix, like anything can be mixed into anything. Like people make dishes out of anything. So there is nothing can be there is no rule that this thing is not combined with that thing. We just want a taste, but we don't think about the outcome of this mixing. So if I tell you about the remix songs, okay, sometimes these remix songs work really well, and we appreciate the new song. Wow, what kind of song? It's really good. But most of the time, these remix songs hurt our ears. Okay, and they just we don't want to hear. That's how this remix like mixing of the food items go inside our body, and they do a hangama over there. Okay, our body doesn't like this kind of food. Our taste buds like, but our body doesn't like. So example, many kind of milkshakes. There is a now summer is upcoming. There is a summer coming, and people will love chilled milkshakes and chilled shakes. So this shake thing is not at all appreciated in Ayurveda or in our text. Sahitakas don't appreciate these things. Apart from, only the mango is the fruit which can be combined or processed with the milk, and you can have it as a food curry. But rest of the rest of the fruits are what? They are citric. They have citric acid in it. They have amla in it. And if you mix milk and that fruit, so what would happen? It's a viruddha. It is going to affect your body. And specifically, if I talk about the female patient or female girl or female woman or a woman, so it would hamper her body structure. So because things not going well with the at a hormone level, because more than a man, female body is a very dynamic body. Every month she menstruates, and her physiological level, her mental level is changing. Her body is changing. She's going through emotional and a physical changes every month. How she carries depends on. So she has to keep watch on her diet and lifestyle. Again, if we see the sleeping pattern nowadays, most of the college going girls, because PCOD is the disease which is common in young girls nowadays. 60% of young girls are suffering with the PCOD. So what happens? They go home, they go college or office, they come late at night and then keep browsing on internet, watching Netflix shows, because दिन भर में college में time नहीं मिलता and office में time नहीं मिलता. So what they do? They come late home and they start watching this dramas and serials. Or otherwise, if I say not even Netflix, but there is this thing, we are constantly on a phone. So this radiation keeps us in an alert mode. It doesn't give us our mind to settle down or in a calm trance stage. So what happens? We can't go to sleep that easily because वो shut button आया ही नहीं है. That button which should be cut off, so वो आया ही नहीं है. So even if there is a sunset, but in our life there is no sunset. There is no set point where to stop working. So because of keep awaking at you just do not go to sleep till late night. So in this kind of patient, in this kind of lifestyle, you visit your vata, like vata. There is vata vriddhi, and if I say I want to be healthy, so what I'm sure most of the people over here are having some kind of Ayurvedic background. So if I want to be healthy, my all the vata, pitta, kapha, all the three doshas should be in a sync. They should be in a proper amount. This is not a right word. Amount is not right word, but I can say in a sync. Okay. So that's how I'll be healthy and in a proper health. But in this condition, if I keep awake till late night, and these things happen for years together, right? Let's say from the age of 15 years till the 25 years till the 30 years, she's doing this. She's adapting this kind of lifestyle, not eating good food, not having proper lifestyle, not having exercise, and this along with this sleep pattern, irregular sleep pattern. So what would happen? She would be suffering losses. वात वृद्धि बढ़ जाएगी. तो ये वात क्या करेगा? कफ को भी हैम्पर करेगा. There would be रुक्षता, कफ का भी इश्यू हो जाएगा, and then pitta will also get hampered, because if we want pitta to be in a samata, then kapha should be in samata and vata should be in samata. But now here is what this vitiate or vruddhi hua vat will go to the strotasas, and it will form avarod in other strotasas. It will make avarod in functions of the kapha and pitta also. So that's how it will hamper the micro environment. Okay, in this female body. Okay, Next, I say uh, this thing, suppressing natural urges. So uh, we go out, people go out in colleges, to the offices. So if I stop, there are no, we live in India, of course, I'll be talking more about this situation. So there are no proper urinals or people can void. So there is a strong urge in ladies or girls to suppress uh, urge of urinating or going to the defecation, this kind of urges. So Ayurveda में कहा है कि वेगान न धारे, but this is how here that patient constantly suppressing her natural urges. So this will also form Vega Avrot, Marga Avrot, and vitiated vibe. Okay. Then again, if I can say ki, okay, there is no proper illness and this kind of facilities. But I think ki, socially one more thing is ki, sneezing, just like sneezing, belching, and this kind of thing. People also don't feel awkward about to express this kind of thing in public or a group of people. So if it is not necessary, you shouldn't do this kind of thing because you want to be healthy in the longer run. Okay. So again, if she wants to suppress the urge to urinate, then she will drink less water. Okay. So water is Krishna is also a natural way, natural urge. So she wouldn't drink enough water. Okay. So again, because she's not taking enough water, what would happen? Her tissues are there will be rukshata formation. There will be rukshata inside her body because prinan nahi ho raha hai na? So there is not enough water inside, enough jal inside her body. So in this thing keeps happening, and there would be the rukshata, and then vata prabhu, and then margavrod, and these things. Then uttaratar dhatu formation is not happening properly. So these things keep happening over here. So we should avoid these things, and in the longer run, it would cause PCOD, and not treated it would cause PCOS. Of course, again, one more issue is there, which will definitely not discussed in modern sciences, of course, and can definitely land that female patient into PCOD. That's a behavior during menses. I'm sure many of the modern practitioners wouldn't tell you about the no, this is okay. In our culture, to sit outside there is some practices to not to touch food or not to be indulged in group activities during the menses. Of course, during the course of time, this good practice was somehow misinterpreted and malpractice. उसका एक बहुत ही एक्सट्रीम ये किया गया है, उसको एक्सट्रीम तरीके से प्रैक्टिस किया गया. But if we go back and retrospect it, and if we analyze, that's what that just it was just to provide rest and relief to that female, because nowadays when we have many houses, even if I go to work or not, if I'm a working woman or a housemaker, doesn't matter, we get easily house help. But if we go to that back era, that time all the middle class female were working inside the house. They were all the household chores were done by the ladies only, and she was cooking, she was washing clothes, she was doing everything. If they have a pet, they were taking care of the cattle or pets. So everything was done by these ladies. So when this menses start, Rajaswala, she becomes Rajaswala or menses start, they were supposed to take the rest. Okay. So I'll here on this point, I'll mention about the how does this Rutu Chakra happens. Okay. So Rutu Chakra is, I think I'm running short of time. I have to discuss many of the things. Prasad sir, can you please let me know how much time I am left with, if possible?
You can take 1 hour totally, madam. Absolutely no problem.
Okay. Okay, sir. So, this is how Rutu Chakra. I'll explain something about the little thing about the Rutu Chakra. It consists of 3 parts. First is Raja Pravrit, second is Ritukal, and third is Rituvetit Kal. So Rajasrav Kal or Raja Kal is the period in which actually menstruation happens, menses occur. So this particular phase is guided, or this particular phase is under the influence of Vata dosha. Then comes Rutukal. This phase is under the influence of Kapha dosha. So after menses occurs, here starts the follicle development. So under the Kapha का काम क्या है? Kapha का काम is Bruhan, nurturing development. So this Kapha dosh comes into the picture, and follicles are developed so that after this entire Rutu Kala phase, ovulation occurs at the end of Rutu Kala, and after that, the phase of Pitta starts, Pitta dosh starts, and Rutu Vetit Kala starts. So in this period of time, there is again preparation for the fertilization, or not. If not fertilization occurs, then next cycle ka preparation, it starts over here. So now, if I say Rajasrav ke time pe, if she is not taking enough rest, you can yourself assess that ki Vata dosh ka vriddhi hoga. Vata dosh will be enhanced or exceed in amount and in quality wise. And if all the characters, Laghu Ruksha, and this kind of all the characters, it comes with the Vata dosha. So you think ये जो बड़ा हुआ बात है, ये कफ को भी हैम्पर करेगा, क्योंकि in this Rajasrav phase, this Vata is increased, vitiated, increased. It will again come into the functioning of the kapha. So kapha का जो bruhan वाला है या फिर development वाला phase है, जो काम है, इसको ये हैम्पर करेगा. It will get affected, and so kapha is not working well. So again, this pitta, which comes in the latter phase, Rutu Vetit Kal mein. So now what happens? It was a chakra. Okay. So how circle? It's a circle. If one part is not functioning properly, so the next part is not functioning properly. So the third part is not functioning properly, and that's how. If the third part is not functioning properly, then again the first part is affected. So it's again what I said in the first slide or first part. It's a vicious cycle. PCOD is a vicious cycle. So now a cycle keeps coming, and also in this patient, Rutu Chakra or Artha Pravritti is also hampered. So this is how this thing about the diseases or the vyadhis of the Artha happens in the case of PCOD patients. So these are the hetus or conditions which causes most of the time PCOD. Okay. So how we will treat this thing? Okay. That comes next part is okay. We have discussed the hetus, we have discussed the samprapti and how does it happen. Everything we have discussed. So now we need to treat it. So there is 2 parts, or I can say it can be treated in 2 ways. The first thing, lifestyle modification. Adopt a new lifestyle which is very healthy. Adopt some how dietary habits. You have to change your dietary habits, walking habits, sleeping patterns, and along with some daily kind of what can I say, daily some practices which if you follow, you will be happy and you will not land up into the PCOD, or if you are a patient of PCOD, the process will get reversed. Okay. So now we'll go first by the treatment part according to the symptoms. So when as a doctor or as a practitioner, when I see how does patient come to us, at what stage patient come to us, I usually saw if it's a young girl, she comes with the menstrual irregularities, menses nahi aa rahe ya fir amenorrhea ho raha hai, this kind of things that she comes with. She She brings this problem to you, and then we evaluate her, and we find out that she is suffering PCOD. Okay, and if she's and again one type of patient, they come with the weight gain. Their only focus is, I'm not looking good. I have developed facial hairs. That part is left, by the way. The symptoms of the PCOD and PCOS. This part I'll cover in the next few minutes. So she comes with the facial hair growth, body weight gain, and the central obesity. So with this kind of symptoms, she comes to us. So we need to think that weight gain is the byproduct or the process. In the process, this weight gain happened. The first thing what has happened, the aharas was not formed properly. So if how does this aharas gets into the formation of the different dhatus? As we all know, rasa, rakta, mausa, meda, asti, majja, shukra, these are the dhatus explained in our Sahitas. The whole body, our body is made up of these dhatus. Okay, so end dhatu, shukra, how does this shukra is formed? The first aharas is taken, then this aharas is acted upon by the rasagni. That's how posturus is formed. And then Raktagni works on this posturus, then Rakta Dhatu is formed, then Maunsa, Meda, Majja, Asti, and Shukra. So in these PCOD patients now, the first, because of the hetus happened earlier, so this Rasagni is getting manda, or Rasagni is not working properly. So that's how when patient comes to us, her Meda Agni is hampered. So Meda is not formed properly. So this Meda is saturated here and there and accumulated. That's how Meda Sanchiti is done. So obviously this Meda Dhatu is not formed well. This so after this if Posha Meda is not formed properly, there is no Posha Meda. So how does that will cause Posha Asti? So in these PCOD patients, one symptom is there, baal jhatte hai, there is a less hair growth or बालों का टूटना, this kind of things, bone में थोड़ा cracking of the bones, cracking sound in the bones, this kind of things happen because this asti dhatu is not formed properly. Again, in these patients, PCOD patients, many of the patients will come to you with the mental symptoms, like manasik signs they will show, or what can I say? I'll just put it in the symptoms, mental symptoms, like chidchidi rahegi, and they will show some kind of depression at the starting of the cycle, very cranky behavior, overwhelming attitude, this kind of things patient ka develop ho jata hai after developing PCOD. So if we take the history, we find out that, or if we evaluate her, then we find out that she is suffering PCOD. So because, and if I follow this Ayurveda pathology, so I find that her Majja Dhatu is not formed properly because Majjagni is not in its full form, or it is not working in its full intensity. So Majja Dhatu se related symptoms hai, manas symptoms hai. That's how patient land into this kind of mental symptoms. And again, lastly, a Shukra Dhatu. So Shukra Dhatu is directly governing over this fertility thing, ovarian or bij ka formation, garbhashay, arthavastrotas. It's entirely guided by is have to deal with the Shukra Dhatu. Now Shukra Dhatu is also not formed properly. So that's how this patient will show us the signs of the infertility. Many of the times patients just ignore everything कि periods irregular हो रहे हैं, अनवरेटेड साइकिल से, या फिर वेट गेन हो रहा है थोड़ा बहुत, और कुछ कुछ पेशेंट में तो वेट गेन होता भी नहीं है, so they will ignore, and she will, when she get married, then she would come to us कि नहीं fertility नहीं है, baby नहीं हो रहा है. So that's how we again evaluate retrospective way, take the history, and then we find out that PCOD or PCOS happens with this patient. So that's how this thing will happen. Okay, so if I say symptom wise, treatment part of symptom wise, we have started with the weight gain wala thing. But one more thing, while treating this patient, we have to again think about the age of the patient also. Okay, so when she was a kid, like not a kid, she's 12 years or 13 years before menarche, Kapha dhatu was prominent, more prominent. Then after menarche, the pitta is in fullest form, or pitta is dominant in her body. And then in later stages, Praudhavastha, she's her body is governed by mostly by Vata. Now, if I say some patient comes to me, she's in Praudhavastha, and we have to deal her for infertility, and we found that PCOD, she's suffering PCOD, and I wanted to treat her. So what would I do? And she's fat also. So can I start entirely kapha therapy or Lekhan therapy with her? Lekhan thing? No, because right now her body is in her body Vata dosh is prominent. So I have to administer treatment very wise so that this Vat in already prominent Vat will not get enhanced, rukshata nahi develop hogi, so that according to that wisely I would treat the patient. Again, I have to analyze her prakriti also, basic prakriti, whether she's Vata Pitta, Vata prominent Pitta, Pitta Pradhan Vat, or Kapha Pradhan Vat, or Pitta Pradhan Kapha. This kind of prakriti will have to take into consideration while treating her. Okay, so this is the general idea about the basic general idea about while starting the treatment. So here comes again the weight gain wala part. So अगर इस patient में weight gain से मैं I'm starting with the weight gain. I have already started the treatment with Dhatwagni enhancement, then Medohar treatment, then Granthihar treatment. This kind of treatment I'll follow in this patient. So the very good thing is, if I want to deal with the weight gain, I will definitely work on Medodhatu. So Medhar Gugul, Trifla Gugul, Lekhan Basti, this kind of treatment I would follow, and those would give a good result actually. Okay. So now next part is again. So I have talked a lot about lifestyle earlier, but again, if I want to focus on weight loss of this patient, so I'll ask her to have LDL, like have her HDL, not LDL. What is HDL and what is LDL? LDL is low density lipoprotein and HDL is high density lipoprotein. So this high density lipoprotein kind of diet would help her to reduce the fat, and the mechanism, insulin resistance, whatever is developed or cholesterol levels are developed, that thing will be dealt with this kind of food. Okay. Again, she should avoid spicy and oily food, because in this patient already estrogen is increased because the follicular development, estrogen is quite increased. So this estrogen will again cause extra oil production. This is how it works. This estrogen will produce extra oil production, and again in the patient, her skin texture will get damaged. It would develop acne on the face and or the body parts or back. This kind of thing happens along with the staulia, because in the staulia there is a fat deposition underneath the skin, and these is the site of estrogen in the kind of patient of PCOD. Site of estrogen is under the skin or the adipose tissue or the abdominal wall, fat on the abdomen, under the abdominal wall. So this estrogen is actually not the estrogen we want. The estrogen which is produced in the ovary or the tract is a feminine, like that is what we wanted. But this estrogen is a kind of androgenic estrogen. So this estrogen will not help us to have a good health. So it will show the symptoms like central obesity, hair growth, hairs on legs or face or body part, back. This kind of symptoms will also develop. And so you can see both the things are going hand in hand. I'm talking about the hormones imbalance, and I'm again talking about the weight gain. I'm talking about the meat or the fat, and I'm talking about the hormones. So they are going hand in hand. So if you deal with one thing, automatically another thing will be dealt. So there is nothing like you what to start with first, because it's a vicious circle. This happens, and then again we are back to first portion. Start from weight gain or the hormone imbalance, you will get the result even if you start with the weight gain, weight loss procedure or weight loss therapy. So this is how it will dealt. Okay. Then many of the times I have came across such kind of patients, and I tried suggesting them the Udvartana. So what is Udvartana? Udvartana is Ruksha massage. Okay. So when we start applying Ruksha massage, we do Ruksha massage like jawar ka atta and masoor ka dal ka powder. These mix it. You have to mix it, and then do the Udvartan on a daily basis. So it would increase blood circulation in the skin. It will also enhance त्वचा. So that's how the underneath जो fat है उसका भी विलयन होगा, and skin का texture भी अच्छा हो जाएगा. And in the longer run, if you keep practicing Udvartana for 6 months, 1 year, so slowly it will be beneficial in fat loss also. और मेद का विलयन के लिए भी ये बहुत ज्यादा beneficial रहेगा, helpful रहेगा. Okay. Now, if I talk about the medicines which I can give in this patient, the Triflavogul, Am Pachapati or Rasapasak yogas, and preparations of Lashun or yogas, Lashun yogas. Won't increase the Vata in this case, man. No. See, someone asked me, Udvartana will not increase the Vata. No. We have to, ये हमको बहुत wisely करना है. हम रगड़ नहीं रहे, तो दिन भर बैठ के उद्वर्तन नहीं कर रहे. What is the mean? उद्वर्तन is mean to कफ हर काम करेगा, तो इतना नहीं करना है हमें कि जो वो वात दोष, it will increase the वात दोष. You have to be specific about this kind of procedure. Like you all know, whatever the procedure we adapt, you have to be very prompt about it. And we have to, and so that is what we are here now. So patient is not, so all of a sudden she is reading somewhere and she will start Udvartana. We are guiding her. We are telling her the exact procedure, how to, which dravya should be taken for the Udvartana. And I will guide, or you will guide as a doctor to her, so that it won't affect her. Okay. So now I talked about Lashun Kalpas and all. So I have treated patients with Varunadi Quats, many of the patients. So I found that PCOD is a kind of avran. In PCOD, there is the avran of the doshas. The Vats ka kaf pe avran, ya kaf ka Vats pe avran, whatever the according to situation. So Varunadi Quats, if I administer 3 months or 6 months, more than it takes more than 6 months, of course. 3 months में तो नहीं हो पाता है. For that matter, it takes even 1 year also. So Varunadi Quats removes this avran, and also insulin resistance is dealt by Varunadi Quats, because insulin resistance is what if we come across each other again in any future lectures, I will talk about the insulin, how insulin resistance is avran. So avran he has insulin resistance. That's how we can deal with the this insulin resistance by Varunadi Quats. Again, next symptom is Rajadush. So this is the integral part of the PCOD. We are going to treat this because patient को Rajadushti का problem होना ही होना है. But one more thing, some patients do not show Rajadushti pattern. Like their cycles are quite okay. But what they show infertility. So in this kind of patient, there are unovulatory cycles. There is no ovulation. So you might think, or you might have come across this kind of patient. I have one colleague. She discussed with one of her case. She said she was having PCOD, but her cycles were quite normal. So that's how. But in such kind of patients, there could be a anovulator cycle, which are not. They are just endometrial cycles, just shedding of the endometrium. It's a long pathophysiology. That's another topic. So we were not going to discuss over here. So we will focusing on the Rajodosh. So in this kind of patient, there is amenorrhea, Rajakshinata, Rajakshay, irregular menses, scanty menses, this kind of all sort of Rajadoshi happen over here. So there is a golden drug. Most of the doctors are using, I think, Raja Pravartinivati. This Raja Pravartinivati works miraculously, but again, we have to give wisely this Raja Pravartinivati with another Vatanuloman yoga. So that's how this drug will affect effectively. Okay, so we will get the result. Okay, now the next is cyst formation. Like what we have discussed, the ovary may cyst form, right? So if I compare this cyst formation, if I look into the Sahitas, so there is a Granthi. It comes under Granthi chapter or Granthi concept. So the Kanchnar Gugu is the best thing to deal with. Kanchnar Gugu gives amazing results along with Arunajika, Raja Pravartinivati, will other Vatanuloman drugs or Medohar drugs. We will deal this patient, cyst Granthi Garachakista we will do, and we will definitely get the results. And there are many patients who got benefited with this kind of treatment. Okay. Now again, there one more drug is Kuberakshawati. This is the kind of Lata Karanj preparation. So Lata Karanj ke saath mein other drugs are put into the combination, and many of the companies are selling this thing. So we have to, Kuberakshawati is just a brand name. It contains Lata Karanj. So it works really good in PCOD patients. Cycles भी normal हो जाते हैं, ovulation भी होना start हो जाता है regularly. But if you find other combinations, assess your patient, assess her condition, and assess the entire thing, and according to that, choose the brand or choose the drug, or else you can have combinations with Lata Karanj itself, like along with the Lata Karanj, other drugs you can yourself make yogas and administer, so that you can deal with the alongside this Granthi. सौले का भी चिकित्सा हो जाएगा, रजदृष्टि का भी चिकित्सा हो जाएगा, मानसिक अगर कुछ सिम्टम्स है तो उसके साथ में भी आप डील कर सकते हैं. बट मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम इस प्रिपरेशन के साथ वी डोंट गो इन दैट डायरेक्शन, so we will not do that thing. Okay, and lastly, arthrosclerosis. Okay, so it's proven that the Falagrut works wonderful in arthrosclerosis. It just works on arthrosclerosis. So whether you administer orally or giving Uttar Basti in the form of Uttar Basti, Falagrut will work awesome in this patient in PCOD. So we will definitely go for the Falagrut. So these are yogas and some drug formations, Nityanandaras, Pravyadras. These kind of preparations, if we use wisely, will benefit our patient. So again, apart from this, if I want to go with Panchakarma, okay, some of the practitioners follow the Panchakarma line of treatment. They just go along with that direction. We will do Shuddhikaran of the patient. Shuddhikaran with the Panchakarma, we will go for the Shuddhi of the body. Okay, so first Vaman, we can go for the Vaman. वमन के लिए जा सकते, तो ये कफ छेदन हो जाएगा वमन में. देन विरेचन, इन विरेचन एरंटेलक से या फिर इच्छा बेजिरस से और त्रिव्रत आदि. तो अकॉर्डिंग टू पेशेंट का प्रकृति एंड स्टेट, we will use this kind of yogas. Okay, and in this way we will do doshapachan. Our motto is doshapachan, shuddhi, Protoros, यार मार्गावरोध को दूर करना, this would be our motive. Okay, again I have talked about the things like mental symptoms, like मानस मानस रोग नहीं कहूंगी, मनोस्रोतस के symptoms, वॉट एवर, चिड़चिड़ापन या फिर instability, this kind of thing. So Shiropichu, Shirodhara will help us definitely in enormous amount. See, what happens in this patient, HPO axis is hampered. What is HPO axis? It's hypothalamus, pituitary, ovarian axis. So if I am talking about hypothalamus and pituitary, there is Shir. These things are related with the Shir. So if I directly administer Shirodhara, Shiropichu, तो पेशेंट को बहुत अच्छे रिजल्ट्स आते हैं, एंड यू वंडर कि हाउ डज दिस पेशेंट रिकवर्ड इन few months, like 1.5 months, you can see the results because you are directly going for the root cause. But ये थोड़ा सा ट्रिकी भी हो जाता है कि ट्रीटमेंट का पार्ट along with Vaman Virichan and Shirodhara, Shiropich. But if you use accordingly and wisely, this thing definitely helps. Again, Nasya, you can suggest Pratimarsh Nasya daily to that patient. So we have one text reference, Nasa hi Shir Sudharam. Just now we have talked about the Shir involvement or the hypothalamus involvement. So ये नस्य directly जाके HPO axis को बहुत हद तक के it will cure this HPO axis on a single level, like hypothalamus level or pituitary level. So prescribe that patient, ask her patient to do Pratimarsh Nasya on a daily basis, and through the 3 months you can, along with other, of course, along with other mode of treatment, patient will get benefited. So this is how yogas or aushadhi part are proper treatment. But if I say this patient is, अब हम one year का course हो गया है, फिर she's already taking medicines for 6 months or 6 months or 1 year. She has dealt with most of the symptoms, but or she has dealt with or cured the PCOD. But because this can happen or it could recur, so हमको maintenance dose भी देना पड़ेगा. So what would we do? We will ask her, we will counsel her, we will sit with her. Of course, you have to sit with her and counsel. The 50% part will be done by the counsel. You have to sit with her, ask her to make some lifestyle modifications and dietary modifications. If there is a need, get in touch with the proper dietitian, or you yourself can guide her about the diet, and then lifestyle modification diet. Ask her to do regular vyayama, like exercises. Exercise is very important because this exercise will not in this patient, again, Meda Sanchati nahi hoga because of the exercise. Agni prompt rahega, and Rasagni, all the Dhatwagnis will be in check. Because व्यायाम के गुण अगर हम देखते हैं संहिताओं में, तो all these things are mentioned here की सुंदरता आती है, क्योंकि हमारे पेशेंट में, मोस्ट ऑफ द फीमेल पेशेंट में पीसीओडी के कारण एक वैवरणता या सौंदर्य नष्ट हो जाता है. This is a lot more concern for the many of the female patients. So this व्यायाम will deal with this. ठीक है. And so many of the yogasanas. So there are many yoga postures which will help to cure or along with the treatment, these postures will help patient to get benefited or get cured. So example, Surya Namaskaras, then Shashankasana, Paschimottanasana, Vajrasana, Sarvangasana. These you have to again take one more whole 1 hour lecture to discuss about the yoga posture or yoga asanas in PCOD. So I will just mention the few names, and you can ask your patients to do this. Along with meditation, pranayama. Of course, pranayama will वायु की गति वो ही सही हो जाएगी, तो most of the problems will get cured. So you suggest pranayama to this patient. So this is how. And one more thing, which I have tried, lastly, I want to mention this. I asked patient to take 2 cloves of garlic and have it in the early in the morning. So how to do it? Like make 2 or 3 cuts into the cloves of the lashun and swallow it. And after that, take some normal water. So it's a kapha vatagna rason, and it's antioxidant even, and medogna even. So it will definitely benefit this patient. And Nari Mitra, it is called Nari Mitra. Okay. So रसोन ये डेली बेसिस पे अगर वो कुछ महीने करती है, she would really get awesome benefits about out of this. So this thing can be done. And one more thing, oil pulling or gandush, तिल तेल का gandush, we can ask patient to do on a regular basis. जैसे ही वो अगर patient cure भी हो जाती, तो भी you keep you tell her that she practice this thing for most of the time, or just practice it. So इससे क्या होगा कि वात धातु का अनुलोमन होता रहेगा, because it goes, oil pulling will work on the mucous membrane of the mouth. So we know महास्रोतस का वो starting point है, वहां से start हो जाता है महास्रोतस और the gut lining. So धीरे धीरे वही से you know about the how food is digested. So म्यूकस मेम्ब्रेन से वो ऑयल पुलिंग हो जाएगा, तो एक्स्ट्रा का जो वात दोष जो बढ़ रहा है वो नहीं होगा, उसका वातालोमन will be kept in check. So this is how it works. So most of the part I have done, the treatment part is also done, the and pathophysiology according to modern and Ayurveda also this we have discussed. So I would like to conclude my lecture over here, and Ayurveda can help a lot of people to treat the diseases. And in female patients, most of the female patients they ignore their health and don't go for the treatment in periphery or rural areas. Taking this diet as a platform, I would like to make this say this thing. They should focus on their health. And in Ayurveda, what we call Dinacharya, Paricharya, Swastha Paricharya. So these things, if female or that girl or woman practices, she would get benefited and would never land into the PCOD or this kind of thing if you adopt a proper lifestyle. So there is prevention is always better than the cure. So this is my concluding point. And thank you so much, all of you who are here to listen me. And I'm immensely grateful for the audience over here. And thank you so much for being with me this entire 1 hour. So thank you so much. I will conclude my words over here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vrushalee. As a part of the summarization, I just would like to make a small comments here. In fact, the PCOD, a burning problem of the today, makes us we have to focus very specifically on the women's health in the 21st century, where many of the things which we are looking in the day-to-day adulterations and also not getting proper things of focusing, or when the females are being ignored, or we have lots of even social and economical problems also. In fact, as a summarization of this PCOD, as I observed from the lecture and little information what I gather, 3 points are going to make more prone for this particular. Number 1, it is with the excess of the insulin production in the body. Insulinemia is going to be get observed in the PCOD people. The second thing is there is increased testosterone is going to be get observed. And most of the people, those who are of the android variety or android type of the women, are susceptible for that of this PCOD is being observed than that of the gynoid women. And excess of the androgens, when they are going to be there, their hirsutism and the excess growth of the is possible. On the contrary, we see the thinning of the hair is also going to be with the more and more acne. The cause of this acne and thinning of the hair is because of the chinta, krodha, bhaya, shoka, etc. of the psychological anomalies. When these psychological anomalies are going to be predominative, at the time there will be sleep disturbances. Apart from this, we have one mobile, Android mobile is also there. Because of keeping the Android mobile, probably the people are getting the androgens more and more in the body. That's why you better leave the Android mobile, because there is an Android in it, and thereby the people are going to be blessed with. We observe the weight gain and menstrual irregularities, but apart from that, one more thing what I was looking is tanning. Suddenly people are going to become more and more tanning. The tanning or darkening of the skin color is an indication of the PCOD. This is very comfortably we can observe even. And when we see this tanning and dark skin, we are going to see along with the acne, of course. And all these are going to show or gives the complications ultimately either the excessive bleeding tendencies while menstruation or otherwise the infertility. These two concomitantly leads to that of the metabolic disorders is a very common thing. When we are observing with the investigations, first and foremost is the lipid profile which we have to be careful about, and along with the blood sugar levels. Blood sugar levels, if at all we are low blood sugar levels, are also not permissible. Normal blood sugar levels are so. That means hypoglycemia is one of the most common thing which we observe in the PCOD people. When we see these sugar differences, sugar is decreased, fat is increased in the blood. This way, when we see these patients, the thyroid profile, as very rightly said, the pituitary, thyroid, and gonadotropic hormone axis is going to be get regulated. When we are dealing with this thyroid, we have observed with the Sirodhara, which was mentioned here. This, of course, if it is of hereditary, then we cannot make any much more things. Commonly, whatever the diet is going to be get preferred for this. Prevention is better than the cure. When I observe the things, the low glycemic diet is being indicated with rich fiber. This is the commonest thing which we are going to make it out. That means, what is this low glycemic diet is the jawar, not the wheat. Wheat is having high glycemic index. When I see the different things which are increasing the android structure and androgens, I observe the first one is the ginger. People who consume, ladies who consume more ginger, more cabbage, and more garlic, these are susceptible for that of this PCOD. Then what is to be given for this PCOD patient? Of course, first one is the low glycemic index, which we have come across. Anti-inflammatory diet. When we say this anti-inflammatory diet, this is like a olive oil and sesame oil. I prefer sesame oil for this people. Usually, I advise whenever there are PCOD or menstruation problems are going to be there, at the time of the menstruation, from the day one for the 3 days subsequently, only Kevala Tilataila is good. Otherwise, Murchita Tilataila is going to be good. This makes the comfort. But people say olive oil is to be used, but olive oil is going to increase once again, androgens is being observed. That's why the olive oil is not recommended. Sesame oil is or tilatailam is recommended. Either the plain tilatailam or the murchita tilatailam. Otherwise, we can go even with the Dhanvantara Avrata 101 Avrata Tailam or Sherbala 101 Avrata Tailam also. The DASH diet is being indicated for the people with the whole grain and poultry, fruits and low fat diets are being commonly prescribed for these people. When we see very specifically, I observe in many of the PCOD patients do have vitamin A deficiency very commonly on the elbows and on the shoulders they have the spiky like things. This is one observation I made and learned people, those who are practicing, because I do not practice PCOD, only observational study. As very rightly said, Rasagni, Sukragni, Medogni. Three Agnis along with the Manovaha Srotas and Artavaha Srotas are to be focused here for the treatment. Lekhanavasti, Uttaravasti, and Sopa or Sotahara management is commonly indicated. Many medications like Palagruta, Kuberakshavati, Kanchanar Gugulu, Varunadikwata, etc. has been said. Here, we are not to treat the diabetes like condition because it is a hypoglycemic conditions. That is the one thing which we have to understand. Last but not the least, as the Shirodhara has been indicated here, and only with the Shirodhara without of any other medication also being people are being get treated. Here, I just say the hyperthyroidisms. Usually everybody is going for that of the modern medication, but the TSH is very well regulated with that of the Ashwagandha Shirodhara. Ashwagandha 50 grams of the powder is being made as a decoction, filtered, and it is used for that of the as a Shirodhara. This has been made very comfortable. So I am very much thankful for the Vrushalee madam. And here there are some of the questions. The Udvardhana won't increase her Vata. Whether the Udvardhana, when it is going to be there, whether it increases the Vata of the patient or not is the question. Second question is, especially hemorrhagic cyst. Do you have attempted any sort of specific manage for that of the hemorrhagic cyst? Over to Vrushalee madam.
Okay. Hemorrhagic cyst is actually is another kind of disease or entity, because PCOD is just a follicular cyst, and it wouldn't, if there is a lot of blood supply into the ovary, to the ovary. So when it is not necessarily associated with the PCOD. Sometimes there is another kind of condition which is hemorrhagic cyst, which is a ovarian cyst, another form of cyst. So this PCOD is a different thing, and a hemorrhagic cyst is a different thing. And hemorrhagic cyst is a very acute condition. We have to deal it right away because it can cause peritonitis, and we have to deal it right away. And operative is suggested. So that's how.
Okay, madam. And another small question is, you have mentioned about the Phalagruta, but not the dose and time of the Phalagruta. Will you please focus?
So actually, I have small issue with the network.
Okay. Here I'll answer. The Phalagruta commonly we are going to prescribe in the evening, that is at bedtime. 10 to 15 grams of the Phalagruta with the milk is being prescribed. This is going to be making a Shodhana also. That's why this Phalagruta is comfortable to use as a bedtime drink.
Right.
And here I got a question. The intake of the ginger increases the chances of PCOD. Yes, this is what I am trying to say. Ginger, garlic, and cabbage. These are the three foods which are having more susceptibility to increase a PCOD, especially in an android physic lady.
Sir, but I have seen, I'll differ with this thing because I have given the preparation. So I haven't come across such kind of conditions. So please
Okay, madam.
elaborate on this.
See,
Please elaborate on
what we are discussing here is some of the informations and diets which are proven to give rise the such sort of the disease condition. Now, what is the quantity? Nobody can speak out. See, few people are going to react with very small quantity. Few people do not get reacted even. But one thing we have to keep in ourselves, and on the contrary, as a prescription of the diet, cauliflower and broccoli are indicated in PCOD as a diet. These two things are going to decrease the android problem, and thereby they are going to make the individual cured with that of the PCOD. Some dietitian has to do such sort of the research. Milk products and milk byproducts are also having lots of the problem. See here, especially as per the Ayurveda, we have the Medo Agni impairment. See, here the contract condition is actually in the Medo Roga, there will be increased Agni and increased Rasa, increased Medas, and ultimately it is going to be only increasing the Medas and rest of the things are going to be in the normal. But here the Rasagni, Rasa is also low and also Medo is high. Rasa is low, Medo is high. Thereby, when the initial condition of the patients, when the person is going to develop such condition, they are androgenic in nature. As they are going to be affected by the PCOD, they put on weight and they become more gynoid. And this weight gaining and androiding is different, even though they look fatty, flabby, but still the androgens are going to be more in these people. Thereby, the unwanted hair growth is going to be get observed. I think. Thank you very much. We have.
I would add here that this part I forgot to mention in my lecture. You shouldn't use milk products like ghee, milk, starch, and this thing. But you must give grit to the patient. Grit will definitely be beneficial, but rest of the other byproducts of the milk should be avoided. This is what I think.
One more diet. People, those who are eating more onions, ladies eating more onions also susceptible for the PCOD. This is, see, these things has to be established through a research. Then only we can make out and we can understand this is going to be a beautiful science. But these verdicts which are being recorded in Ayurveda very, very long ago, I have to hats off to that of the Guru Acharyas, those who have provided this knowledge for the centuries. Thank you very much for the one and all those who are here. And I am very much happy. If anybody wants to have a comment, you can just say, unmute yourself, open your video, and you can just say a word. Rashmi madam? Vandana madam? Yes, Rashmi madam?
Namaskar, sir.
Namaste.
Nice
Do you have
lecture.
any additions?
Nice lecture, nice lecture. It was really knowledgeable. Definitely, I'll try to deliver the lecture next time.
Hey, thank you very much.
So
This is a
we
very
will
initiative.
look forward to your lecture, ma'am.
Okay, really nice lecture, ma'am.
Dr. Vandana madam, anything to say?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Very
madam.
nice
Please.
lecture by
Thank you,
Vrushalee.
thank you.
And
Thank you, ma'am.
your
Thank you so much.
teaching is also good, sir. I
Okay.
like it.
Thank you very much, one and all, and good night.
Thank you so much, everyone, and good night.